we just had our fire cider class here at the apothecary, and I figured I'd go ahead and use this opportunity to make a video for you guys. So let me grab my gloves here and tell you guys what we have on this table. I'm not gonna lie, I did already make it in the class, so I just deconstructed it so I could show you all on camera. This is so simple, and one of the things I was just talking about with one of the people who just left was how it's so simple and you can watch so many YouTube videos, but until you literally see someone do it, it's just hard to trust yourself. So I just decomposed my fire cider so I could put it back together on camera for you guys. So just keep in mind, that's why my vinegar is already a little red. This is just apple cider vinegar, and I pulled everything back out in this bowl. But what I had laid out for everyone here today so they could kind of make their own, I'm gonna get into. So fire cider, age-old recipe that has been found everywhere in the world. Now, was it documented before Rosemary Gladstar? A little bit. It's up for discussion. But it's looked different everywhere you go. For example, here in the South, people use a lot of hot, spicy things, especially at the end of summer. We've got our peppers, and then it's early winter. We're digging up like horseradish root, onion, garlic. Where my ancestors are from in Eastern Europe, people would use rose hips in vinegar for vitamin C this time of year. Things like anise and fennel and ginger and cinnamon. So there's so many ways that you can do this, and I always urge you to use herbs that are growing near you, use herbs that you have fresh, and things that you already have in your kitchen. Some things that we don't have on this table that would be great in a fire cider are things like rosemary, oregano, and thyme. I just pulled out some things that I love that we had here at the apothecary. 'Tis the season for cranberries. So we've got some cranberries. You could use rose hips. Both are going to be a great source of flavor and vitamin C. I love using oranges. I really feel like it helps mellow fire cider out. Everyone had a shot of fire cider before the class began, and based on the smell, people were expecting it to be really hard, and everyone was like, wow, that was not bad at all, and that is thanks to orange. So if you have a hard time with fire cider, get you some fresh orange. Lots of fresh ginger, very important warming herb this time of year. The base of fire cider that you have to have is this trio right here: onion, garlic, and horseradish. To me, that is the unexceptional base recipe. However, if you can't do horseradish, ginger is going to be warm and stimulating enough. Elecampane is one of my favorite warm, stimulating roots this time of year. And then over here we've got some warming spices. I did skip over jalapenos. I love using habanero. That flavor just goes really good with the oranges as well. For spices, I've got star anise. Love that spice. It's naturally got strong antiviral properties, and it has Tama something that's in Tamiflu. Very good respiratory herb as well. Clove, cinnamon, cardamom, fennel. Just good, tasty, warming spices. And then I also brought out anise hyssop, hibiscus, and marshmallow root. To me, this is a really good mucilaginous trio that's going to add some moistening to this whole mix. Very good for both gut health and immunity, which is the purpose of fire cider. Fire cider is amazing for warming things up. It's a good mix of warm, stimulating herbs. So ingesting fire cider is going to be both amazing for your gut and amazing at helping warm you from the inside out so your body can fight a cold. Some people take it daily this time of season. I'm not one of those people. I like to take it at the first sign of a cold, or if someone told me that I was around, hey, I got sick, just so you know, I'll start taking my shots of fire cider to tell my body, we ain't getting a cold. So in my pre-mix right here, I've got my chopped onion. Now, if I wasn't reconstructing this, I would pour the vinegar last. So please keep that in mind. So we're going to just put our onions in here. And I made everyone at the class tonight measure with their hands because there's no recipe, there's no measuring, you don't have to be exact. That is not the purpose of this recipe. Um, as long as you have a couple garlic cloves, a little bit of onion, you'll be good. So I tell people measure with your heart. This is an ancestral recipe. Let them guide your hand and go by flavor. What flavors do you like? I know that I like a lot of garlic, so I'm doing 2 handfuls of garlic. I also love the flavor of fresh horseradish, so I'm going to do a healthy amount of my chopped fresh horseradish. Horseradish root is very hard to find, so you have to grow it if you want it fresh. Dried does not compare for me. I've got my pepper. I'm going to do a little bit of habanero, a little bit of jalapeno. My orange, I've already squeezed it. And then I also did a little bit of cranberry. A little bit of fennel. Some ginger. And some elecampane. And I think I'm going to go a little bit more on the spices. I didn't do that many spices to begin with. Some more cinnamon. Another anise. Pinch of clove. Now, one thing people were asking me about a lot is how much of the herbs to do. Like, do those need special measurements? To which I still said no. But for this sized amount, I did a 3-finger pinch of my marshmallow root, my hibiscus, and my anise. Now I need a lid. And time. Now we wait. You're going to put this jar somewhere where you can see it so you'll remember. And give it a shake about once a day. And we're going to let this sit 4 to 6 weeks. If you don't shake it once a day, it is okay, friends. You just are shaking it to make sure all those flavors meld together and everything gets mixed nicely. In 4 to 6 weeks, it does not matter if it's 4, it does not matter if it's 6. You're going to strain, and we're going to add our honey. Now, what I showed everyone in class today is fermented garlic honey, which is just too easy to make to not do it. I started this just a couple days ago for this class, and it was already fermented today. I could tell because the lid was swollen, and when I opened it, it burped. So fermented garlic honey, someone at the class today had actually made a mistake making theirs. So let me tell you, what they had done was taken whole cloves and poured the honey on top. They didn't touch the cloves at all. And the honey just kind of crystallized around it, which is fine. But to make a good fermented garlic honey, or any fermented honey, you could add onion, ginger, anything, you need to muddle it. You can chop it, whatever, but muddle it in the jar to get some of that liquid out so that there's a little liquid to help speed up the ferment. If it's just a dry garlic in there, it's going to take a while for that to release juices and ferment. So you can speed things up majorly by muddling it. This is what we do when we ferment cabbage or anything else. We muddle it, get as much of those juices out as possible, and that's what's going to cause that fermentation. So this only took 2 days, and as soon as I opened this, everyone was like, oh my god, that smells so good. So this is the ticket right here. And this is why I like to do my honey separate, so I can get a nice funky fermented honey. Also taking spoonfuls of this when you're sick, especially if you have a sore throat. And another thing I was telling folks is people will go to sweeten their fire cider and then they don't really like it that much and they think they've added plenty of honey. Guarantee you didn't add enough. For a quart-sized jar like this, the average herbalist is going to use a half the amount of honey. So once this is strained, that's about half the amount. You can use a little less if you'd like, but that is going to be a really good tasting fire cider. So that's it, folks. That's it. We're going to strain these babies in a few weeks, mix them together. You want to shake it really hard or use a hand frother if you have one to mix it at home. And then you do not have to store it in the fridge, but if you are going to be opening it every day, it's best to. And we are going to be taking a teaspoon if we're taking it for gut health, or more like a tablespoon if we're taking it temporarily to boost immunity. Amazing, age-old recipe, looks different everywhere. Don't be afraid to do your own variations. Someone mentioned an apple cider cinnamon one. That sounded phenomenal to me. Some people like to just focus on the heat and make it almost more like a hot sauce, especially if you're the kind of person that cooks with your fire cider and uses it as like a marinade or a salad dressing. There's really so many ways you can use it. So kind of think about it that way, a little out of the box, and that'll help you determine what all to put in it. Okay, enjoy.